Hi everyone, welcome back to Paycheck to Power. We have someone very exciting here today. Today, guest took Malaysia's first influencer advertising company centric all the way to Australian stock exchange, and he did something most people couldn't understand at that time. He walked away. He started all over again, built Colony from scratch, one of Malaysia's most distinctive co-working space, then co-founded and invested Jerry, Dough by Mac, a cafe that turned into a viral granola brand. But beyond businesses, he's a father of two, a husband, and a content creator. But what makes him truly stand out isn't what he built, it's the honesty that he openly talks about the mental health battles, the hard seasons, and the journey after success. So he's someone that who turned paycheck into power of choice. Hi Tim.
Hi.
Welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Well, I heard about your story and inspiration, how you started Colony, and I wanted to get into it. Something that I'm very, very curious about, because Colony is not just a typical co-working space, it's a premium hospitality-led spaces, right? In which most of the business is racing to the bottom of the price, especially Malaysia being a price-sensitive market. How did you pull that off?
I always ask people, you want the PR answer or you want the honest answer? You know, the PR answer would be like, oh, in hindsight, I saw a gap in the market for high-end co-working. We want to create an environment where companies could attract and retain talent, right? But while that is true, the honest answer is that we actually stumbled upon it. I wasn't that creative, I think, in like thinking how we're going to build the space in the beginning. So when we were first designing our first space, my wife asked me like, what is the theme? And I said, why need team? Don't all co-working spaces just look the same. We just follow what WeWork looks like, right? And she was like, no, we must have something unique to it. One of the themes she suggested was like a gentleman's club, which is like high-end kind of gentleman's club like in London and all that. So we thought, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So we did it. And then eventually we became known for that, like a high-end hospitality-driven kind of thing. Hospitality was more intentional because we didn't want to be about community and everything because everyone was focused on community. We just wanted to make sure that our spaces were the kind of space that people would want to work in, and going to work in a colony feels like going to work in the St. Regis or something. So that's our idea.
But of course, premium market, it's never easy to penetrate because the mass market, it's the price sensitive market, right? When you first started a business, I mean, you wouldn't have situation that people come to you and ask you about the price and you just disappear.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. How do you still, manage to strategize it to attract consumers?
I think the only reason why we survive today is because of this positioning. Because in the early days, right, when people come, we didn't get pushback about the pricing because people, when they walk into our space, they're like, oh, I know why this is more expensive. Like, they know why a 5-star hotel is more expensive than a 3-star, right? But some of them will be like, yeah, I think my staff cannot work here, it's too nice. That's the traditional kind of thinking, you see. But then, funny enough, right, COVID changed everything. Because post-COVID, everyone was working from home. And companies wanted to bring people back to the office. So that's when they started coming to us and say, okay, let me move our office here. So it's a very nice environment for people to want to come in to work. And that happened by luck. It wasn't something that we planned at all.
The strategy definitely paid off, and Colony get profitable in quite a short period of time. I also understand that at a period of time, there was also 2 outlets.
Oh, yeah, outlet.
You said something that really brings to my mind. It's a cut when you can, not when you have to.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is exactly problem a lot of people are facing when they are going through tough times. They are not sure if they should push through the hard season or they should cut it at a point. So how do you tell the difference?
To give you an idea about Colony at first, right? Colony actually, in our group, right? Colony is actually very, very profitable. And we've always grown, right? Since we haven't raised money in like 7 years. So all the growth we have right now is all from like cash flows that we generate, and we don't take any debt. It's all our own cash generating cash flows. And part of the way we do that is also to be very tax efficient, right? So if you look at us, we actually don't show much profit in our group level. Because the subsidiary, sometimes we have profit because it's subsidiary level, and then we have to pay taxes there. But at the group level, we try to like tax optimize that. We don't show profit as much as we can, so that it's more tax efficient. Now, at the same time, right, because we depend on our cash flows to open new outlets, right, we have to guard this cash flow very, very carefully. So if we have like centers that are just not making money and we need to cut, then we will cut. And not only that, when we cut, we can use the tax write-off to write off that, so there's a loss, and then so that we don't have to pay that much tax that year, which again helps our cash flow, you see. So we're quite disciplined about that. The only thing we're not disciplined about is one of the subsidiaries, Jerry, under the group, which is the one that's losing money, right? So that one, because I just have a longer term view of it, that, you know, the Jerry, as all outlets can make money, like the outlets can make money, but the group level is not at the scale that can make money yet.
Previously, you run multiple businesses before as well. You have brought it to exchange. And it's very common that entrepreneurs, when they see cash flow revenue, kind of expand, want to do more, being very aggressive. So how do you manage your ambition?
In the past, I was also very drawn by like vanity metrics, revenues, how many outlets, how many staff you have and everything, you know. And actually that was a part of the reason why I failed. I consider my own experience last time in the past, although it was successful in some manner, I consider it as a personal failure of mine. Part of personal failure is because we were too ambitious, we grew, we were growing revenue, we were growing like new locations, new outlets in like other countries and everything, but none of them were really generating cash flow back to the group company. So ultimately, when the group started, the main business, like they say in Malaysia back then, started to falter, then it brought the whole group down because the rest of them weren't be making money. So I'm very determined now to make sure that in Colony, we don't fall for that vanity metric. If I see anything that eating away the cash flow and there's no hope of turning around, I just cut it away. I don't hold on to it because I've had the experience where I've held on and I just made the problem worse.
Take us back to the moment that how did this investment opportunity come out with Dough by Mac?
Okay. So Dough by Mac, right? I used to go to the cafe in Ceylon, the original cafe, and I got to know Mac there. And I really loved the food there. And then back then, she had the opportunity for us to invest in it. So I thought, okay, let me go and invest it. But my idea was that cafe, the lease was ending in 3 months, and I didn't want to continue there. So I said, okay, why not we just do catering for all our Colony event spaces, because we do like 370 events a year. So why not we just do our own internal catering, you know? Then we can control the experience of Colony. Mac still has a very significant share, right? But we bought over a majority stake of it. But she still runs everything, right? So all this is credit to her, right? But the first year we struggled. Catering business was a lot harder than I expected it to be. So we actually lost money for the first year, you know, and we were struggling all the way. And then after that, Mac came out with a granola product, which we helped market it and it went viral, and then it saved us. And now she came up with this cafe that's a total hit. It's really a 1-2 hour queue, especially on weekends. Weekdays, maybe you can get for less than an hour. And it just turned the whole company around.
Normally, for investors to put their capital in a business, you usually go through numbers decks, you know, and it's a process of presentation. Did that happen for you? Okay,
so when you invest in like smaller size businesses that Dough by Mac was at the time, I think we have to accept that sometimes like the things are not as clean, because not everything in a small business is like as well documented as a medium size or even larger business, you know. We can look at the set of accounts and then, okay, we can base it based on this account, but then after that you'll see, suddenly got a few more bills came in that wasn't accounted for. But largely for us, it was really a bet on Mac. So it was really bet on Mac, like, okay, you know, that she would carry it, you know. And she ultimately did, and it turned out to be a bet that is working out. Like 1 year ago, we were struggling, man. I just kept my faith in Mac and just like, okay, we had to keep funding it, putting more money into it and everything. But now I think it really just paid off.
And I think you also mentioned that Mac is still very hands-on in the business. While I think one thing that many investors struggle with, right, is the balance between being hands-on and hands-off. Because when they invest in a business, on one hand, that they trust the person, the founder, do work, but also on another hand, they wanted to be involved in the operation. When would you decide, or how would you decide time to be hands-on or time to be hands-off? For me,
My approach when betting on a founder like Mac, right, is like I'm literally betting on her abilities, but also betting on her integrity. Because you have two things. You can bet on someone who's capable, but the minute the business starts doing well, the person will be like, why am I getting paid so little compared to what I'm generating? I want more and more of the share, you know. So you have to be able to bet on both the capability and integrity. My approach is just that if I partner somebody and that somebody is still working partner, and I'm just the investor in anything, I just have to accept that I want to be as giving as I can, as generous as I can. I don't interfere with decision making, you know. I like, this is what I would like, but ultimately it's up to you. So that ultimately this person feels like it's their company ultimately. And the truth is that this approach has also failed on me many times. I have had partners that take advantage of me and all that. But the 2 times or 3 times that it has worked well, it has really worked very well. Ultimately, it just depends on the person you bet on.
Working as in corporate and entrepreneur is still very different in the sense that when you hustle in a corporate environment, you know there is a promotion or a title or a pay rise come to you. But an entrepreneurship, you know, it's a lonely journey that whatever you do, it just only time can prove that it's right.
Yeah.
When there's no external validation, how do you motivate yourself?
I always say, I always say that motivation, right, is actually the most important when you're not seeing results.
Yeah.
But-
That's your self-motivation,
Yeah,
right?
and that's the hardest. But that's the most important. It's the hardest because when you're seeing results, it's very easy to be motivated one. But when you're not, it's very difficult lah. You lose motivation. But that's when it's the most important, because if you give up, then it's over lah.
The resilience lah, you have to
Yeah.
stay strong even though you don't see result. But you just gotta believe in yourself that it will work.
Yeah.
And you have run multiple business, built many of them alongside with someone that's very close-hearted to you, which is your wife, Audrey.
Yeah.
How do you feel running a business with your life partner?
It's very nice. I love it. In the past, when I used to run like Nuffnang on my own, right? Whenever I talk to her about my work issues, it's like she can understand, she can empathize, but she's not really in the trenches with me. But now she's really in the trenches with me. She understands exactly who I'm talking about, what I'm referring to, what problems and everything. So I find it very, very fulfilling. I love it.
So I want to ask, any tip for people that's looking to go into business with their spouse?
No, I think it's just like in any other relationship, a lot of patience and ability to learn and not take anything for granted lah. Like, just because she's my wife, I expect her to just back me, or I expect her to understand me, or that I can be harsher with her on feedback. All these things are very, very important. In fact, because she's my wife, I need to work extra hard when giving her feedback, because I might deliver it in a way that could be harsher than I would deliver to someone else. You tend to be more harsh with the people that you are more familiar with.
But how about, let's say, if there's a hard day? Because running a business, you know, it's never always sunshine and rainbow. There would be hard times, hard days, hard decisions to make. In a hard day in a business with your spouse, is there any tip to manage that?
I think we have a lot of hard days, you know. And I think they come more frequent than we would like them to. But then that's a good thing, you know, like maybe misery loves company. So when you're going through hardship, but you know somebody's in the trenches with you, you feel a bit better lah, you know.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah, trauma bonding. You know? And I've had a lot of crises lah, even within the company and everything. And just having my wife there is just, it's like a huge stabilizing factor for me, and it makes you feel not alone.
Other than running multiple business, you are a husband, a father of two, you have two dogs as well, right? And you are a content creator. There's quite a lot of hats you wear at once lah. How do you manage your time?
Okay, so this past few months,
Crazy.
I've done so by eliminating all my me time. You know, like I have no me time whatsoever. You know, like I just spend family and then work and all that. You know, I think that's not healthy lah. That's not healthy. I should do something lah. But I do make it a point. I still exercise like 5 to 6 times a week. You know, I play pickleball, I go to PT and everything. But beyond that, I struggle with find time for myself lah.
What is your view on social media?
If you're looking at one thing that could get you the most attention, nothing even comes close to social media today. Like, you can have every newspaper write about you every day in Malaysia. It will not compare to you being like present on social media in a big way lah, you know. So I think that it drives you a lot of attention. It's very significant lah. But at the same time, the thing about us influencers is that we have a very short shelf life. There will come a time where we'll stop becoming popular. We will still hold on to our number of followers, 100,000, 200,000 followers on TikTok or Instagram, but our engagements will fall. If you look at a lot of profiles that you go to, they have a lot of followers, but you see that reels, they have very low engagement, because maybe like they have just faded into irrelevance. And I have faded into irrelevance before, so I know what it's like. So I know that this just will not last lah. While I have it, you know, enjoy it, leverage it as much as I can for my work and my business and anything like that, but I just know it's temporary.
I'm not too sure if this is real, what I heard also. You give equity to your key staff.
Oh yeah.
It's not something commonly heard of. Hardly a lot of entrepreneurs will do that. Like, what is the purpose behind that?
I guess my goal for following is never for me to be always the one running the whole thing. You know, that eventually it'll be led by people who work in the company. So I did give out of my own share lah, some options to them lah. And it's quite a material portion. But my goal is that I wanted them to be able to own something. They dedicated their time to lah. Yeah.
If they had the ownership of it, they would take it as their own. But when you hire your staff, right, what do you see in people?
I guess what I look for is actually growth mindset. That's the most important thing. Like the ability for a person to grow. And that's a lot less common than we realize, because most people are very like fixed lah, you know, like they either because of ego, either because of like not having a desire to want to learn new things and or change their mind. I change my mind all the time because I realize I'm wrong all the time. Like I will say one thing, and then after that I'll say another thing like 6 months down the line that contradicts what I said 6 months ago. And that should be something that we should be proud of. We should be proud that we have the ability to change our mind, not be stuck. To be able to say that, yeah, actually I was wrong, you know. I was too naive, or I was too stupid, or I didn't consider things properly.
When you do hiring for your business, usually what's the biggest challenge you encounter?
I think the challenge with hiring is it's just always difficult because you're trying to find someone with the right abilities, who has the right values, same values as you, is currently right going through the stage of life where you need this person to be at for this particular role. So for example, you can have superstars and you can have rock stars in your company. Superstars, they don't stay long. They just do very well, but they don't stay long. And then there are rock stars that are just like, they don't do super well, but they're just very stable. And you need both. You can't have just one or two, right? And sometimes in a position, you might need a rock star, but you might get superstars instead. And it doesn't fit. So because there's so many variables that don't necessarily fit when hiring a person, right? So I think hiring, right, is not as important as firing. My biggest mistakes in the past have not been keeping good people long enough, but more than I've been keeping people who are not fit too long. I think that's my downfall in life is because I drag it out, because you know, who likes to fire? Nobody likes it. We also want to give chance, we also want to try and everything, but sometimes you just know that it comes to a point where you know that not just are you wasting your own time, you're wasting that person's time, because this person's not going anywhere in your company.
I think, Tim, something I wanted to also speak to you about that is uncommonly heard, but you spoke publicly about your anxiety and depression as a CEO. Most leaders, at least the leaders I've engaged with, I've hardly encountered that, because many would want to be seen as strong and certain. What made you decide to do so?
Actually, at the point in time, I was really thinking of many things, but just that I was hiding it at first. It was leading me to more anxiety because I was afraid if people found out, would they still want to follow me, and would investors still want to bet on me and all that, you know? But I had that anxiety, and I just wanted one less thing to worry about. That's why I did it.
How does it, for someone that do not know if they're going through depression and anxiety, how does it actually feel like from inside?
Actually, the thing about depression and anxiety is like a lack of feeling, because it's like a numbness, so you don't really feel anything. You don't feel good, you don't feel bad. I did tend to take the bad worse than the good, but it's more or less like a feeling of like numbness. Yeah. I think I always just seek treatment and go talk to a therapist at least, Even if there's nothing wrong with you, there's no harm just talking to a therapist. And also understanding that actually it's very common even among like high performing individuals. Like I couldn't relate to it at first because I was like, I can't have depression because I'm high functioning. I don't have trouble getting out of the bed in the morning. I have trouble sleeping at night, but I don't have trouble getting up in the morning, and I'm always like active doing work and everything, and I didn't look like I exhibited all the symptoms on the outside.
I think the first thing before going therapist, right, is self-realization. Is to acknowledge that you were going through this, and then the moment that you acknowledge, I think then furthermore, once you take the first step, everything gets easier after that. Tim, I want to spend the last few minutes just to ask you a question on a few views. Well, obviously you are loaded.
No, I'm not loaded. Why do you think I'm
You're
loaded?
definitely loaded.
Why do you think that?
If your business is going public, whatever you're doing now, loaded. And everybody has a definition of financial freedom. What is your definition of financial freedom?
For me, I think it's just about having enough money that you can do anything, but not so much that you can do nothing. And for me, one thing I realized that I always want to work. And I think I'll work until the day I die. Because I think it gives me like joy, Like after I left my previous company, I thought, maybe I'll take a 6-month break and just play games and do nothing at home. And I got really bored after 2 weeks. So then I said, okay, I need to do something else. For me, that bar for financial freedom is just, it's not until like, I never need to work a day in my life, because I always want to work for the rest of my life. Right? But it's just, I am free enough to be able to choose what work I want to do. And not be desperate, not be desperate to take and stay in jobs that I don't want to do, even if it pays well. If you notice that it's very different from like, financial freedom is like I want to spend without looking at the price and all this stuff, But to me, it's just about, instead of something material things like that, it's more like I want to be able to make choices.
The power to make choices in life that you wanted to.
Yeah.
What do you think is the fastest path to get 100K?
Whatever work you do where there is a variable compensation to it, where if you do things well, like a property agent, insurance agent or something like that, and you can get the upside from there. That will be fastest. Because the other routes is like climbing the career ladder. It will start off slow at first. You just earn low pay first, and then only it slowly builds up, right? But if you're on a commission-based job very early on, right, then you can get fast quite quick. I wouldn't even say it's business, to be honest. I think business is often the fastest way to go broke or go nowhere. I always think if you want to optimize for money, right, I don't think you should do business, because I think that is like a very hard way to earn money. Yeah.
Actually, that's a very truthful and harsh advice, and I resonate with that because I'm in the line of sales and I have friends that do business. I made my 100K faster than my friend that is doing business, but of course the business paid off in the long run. Now he's doing better.
Yeah, but you never know, the business can totally fall. And you know what's the problem with business? The problem is not that the business doesn't do well. The problem with most businesses, that if the business fails, right, very fast, right, that's a good thing. The businesses that you don't want to land up with, right? It's the business that you are stuck in for 10 years.
Mm.
It doesn't do bad enough to fail naturally and die a natural death, but it also doesn't do well enough to help you reach your goals. And you, in a way, you're earning less than what you would have earned if you were a headhunter or doing something else. But you commit your best years, 10, 15, 20 years on this business that's going nowhere. That is the kind of businesses that will suck you dry. Those are the ones that you don't want to be part of. And that's where most of us are. If your business fails fast, then be thankful it failed fast. Then you can move on, you know?
That's the harsh truth about it, right?
Yeah.
If there's one last sentence you could share to the younger generation today, what would you say it is?
Every year that I grow older, I realize that the younger me was actually really stupid and immature in many, many different things. And I don't want to say this in like an old generation advising us kind of way, but as someone in middle age, I realized that every time I think I know it already, or I'm matured enough, everything, and I realize, oh shit, okay, I'm stupid. I didn't know that. I didn't know this, and I'm learning something along the way as I get older. So the good thing is that we all really truly do get smarter as we get older.
Yeah, that's true. I think don't be afraid to make mistakes, right? The moment you make mistakes, then you know what's right or wrong. That's where you get smarter by learning from your past mistakes. Okay. Well, Tim, before I let you go, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on board on this channel. What this channel is really about, it's to interview people like you. What I see is someone that's incredibly brave, that you are brave enough to do something that there is no proof that it will work. Actually, brave enough to start something all over again, which you could have rested, and brave enough to share a lot of experience, hard seasons that you make people that feel in that journey itself, right? They are not alone. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.